welcome to Beautiful Subconscious. I'm your host, Shell Marie. It is wild to think that we are on the final day of the first month of the new year at the time of this recording. How wild to think that. If this is anything, let it be a reminder that time is not pausing. It's not holding back or waiting for anyone. So no more fluffing, no more getting things sorted in the back end and holding off until you're ready to take that leap, to do that thing, to step in and really give greatness your red hot crack because it's there. We just got to allow it to show up, and we got to allow ourselves to trust that we've got it. We've got what we take. There's no more prep time that's needed. So jump on board that train. I'm excited for today's episode. This pretty much ties in to our episode. In fact, it is the Subconscious Unsubscribe of 2025. And I will touch on where that title has come from just shortly. But as always, for our episodes, we pull an intention card. So if you are new here, welcome. It is so incredible to have your ears and your curiosity. And thank you for entrusting me to, connect with you through this avenue. And if you've been here before, thank you. Welcome back. It is such a privilege to evolve with you. And the whole reason why this podcast was created in the first place was to close the gap between our subconscious and the modern day person. Like, not many of us have a really deliberate relationship with our subconscious. And yet this is the space where everything originates from. We forget that the power that we ask for, the answers that we seek are all within us. And yet here we are giving our power and externalizing or putting external things as our priority, that we tick the boxes that we think that we should do. And once it's done, there's so many times it's like, this doesn't feel like what I thought it would. There's this big empty hole that's there. There's something missing within it, and it's showing up in the form of physical pain. It's showing up in your emotions, or it's just like, I shouldn't feel this way, but why do I do? Like, I'm looking around and there's nothing that I should actually be really sad about. But here I am not feeling that as good as what I hoped that I could. And the same goes with our mental capacity. And we all carry different levels of trauma within our body, and it gets stored in our subconscious, and it dictates the way that we show up. And so when we don't have a relationship with our subconscious, we look around, we're like, who am I to complain about the life that we have? Someone else has got it so much worse. Then we invalidate the way that we feel. And when we really switch that up, we can start to understand, like, there's things that we don't even realize have left an impact and an imprint on our nervous system. And when we use our very innate channels of communication, we get to release that for ourselves at the root of where it all began, so it no longer has that impact. And then we can go about our lives and create the lives that we all desire from our own unique sense of self. That's what I wanted for this podcast, and to give it like a spin and a play. Like, it doesn't always have to be so woo-woo or emotional, I like to weave all of that in. Like, in a given moment, you never know which one of them is going to come out. But at the end of the day, it gets to be fun. It gets to be a big adventure of life, because that's what I truly believe that it should be. And even though I've got to remind myself a lot of the times that that's in fact what I truly hold as one of my values. So welcome. Tying it all the way back, circling back, we are going to pull an intention card for this episode. And this episode's card is, I am enough and I am worthy. Yes, I'm enough and I am worthy. Beautiful. Like, it's just such a powerful phrase, and we hear it, like, I'm enough and I'm worthy, and also can be to a point where it's just like, yeah. But let it land. I am enough and I am worthy. So this episode, it began with obviously the end of it, just recently, it's been the end of 2024. We get reflective at the end of each year. We can question, did we do enough? Do we question, did we achieve what we wanted? And we just, I guess, do an audit of how we've shown up and what we've achieved. And same again is what we want to achieve for the next year following. So 2025, what is it that we want to accomplish? Where is it? So for me, from being, transparent and honest, I felt that there were a bunch of inactions that I've done, like it did through 2024. And this is not to come down and be my worst critic to myself, but it's like one of those things, like now you've seen it, you can't unsee it. So I was like, all right, it's time. It's time. This comfort zone that you've been loving and prepping things in the sideline. Awesome. Now it's go time. Let's do the things. And so with that, when someone asked me what my word was for 2025, it just innately came out like unsubscribe. I want to unsubscribe from my own BS. No, not beautiful subconscious, but my own bullshit of I just got to quickly get that done first. And they're little micro, insignificant, so to speak, things prioritize before the things that I know that I should be doing or the energy that I should be embodying to achieve the life that I am ready to really, really allow. And I'm unsubscribing from that behavior. I'm unsubscribing from that belief, those belief systems. I'm unsubscribing from the thought patterns. And so there's going to be a lot of unsubscribing to then redirect that energy and create the space to allow for the things that I want in my world and to be the version of myself that's ready, because I am ready. It's on. So the subconscious unsubscribe is, what are you willing and ready to unsubscribe within your subconscious to now allow for space to become the version that is there within you. We all have that sense that I know I can give more. I know I want more. And so that simple yearning within your soul, that's innate for you. That's something saying like that is the benchmark. That's where we should be. So let's do this. Let's go. And it shouldn't be ignored. We just got to move the things out the way to get us on board with those soul callings and what we know that we're capable of. So for that, we got to get into a relationship with our subconscious, right? We absolutely need to understand how important our subconscious is. So what is the subconscious, right? We've got our conscious mind and we've got our unconscious mind, and right in the middle, we've got our subconscious mind. And the things that happen subconsciously are the things that happen on autopilot. We breathe on autopilot. Our heartbeats, the cells of our body communicate subconsciously. We do not have conscious awareness of the electrical currents that play out within ourselves to then create the action, to then create the result of us breathing or taking that step forward, literally and physically and metaphorically, as well as we don't stay awake. Like we fall asleep and we actually become unconscious, so our body can start to restore, reset and recuperate as we rest. Imagine thinking about that every minute of the day. And in fact, we have 11, like the subconscious receives 11 bits of information every second. That is a huge chunk of information it takes on board every second. So we've got to give it some credit. Firstly, that is phenomenal. Like so much credit to the ability of what it's actually doing and the well-oiled ship it runs. But then we can start to understand that, of course, like it's going to want to just do what it's familiar with because it doesn't have the space to be like, oh, here's something new. Maybe I should just start to see what that's all about. It's like, okay, cool. That's new. To me is unfamiliar. Unfamiliar could be a risk. Risk could equal death. No, let's go with the familiar. Familiar might not equal happy, but that's cool. I'm always going to prioritize keeping her alive over being happy. So this is where we've got to start to give credit to the subconscious and understand that, right? It's only operating as well as it's programming. So like our phones, like our technology, we got to upgrade that. We got to make sure that we know what systems are running and what messaging it's directing and the efficiency of it. And is that in alignment to what it is that we want to achieve and the version that we are on a physical level? Like is our programming, really giving us the physical results that we want, the energy that we want, the sleep that we get, the digestive system optimally, breaking down and drawing up and absorbing the nutrients? Are we emotionally getting what we want from this subconscious programming? Do we feel like there's a buffer from seeing the stimulus and how we react? Do we see why? Do we understand why these emotions come up, and are they serving us? So we've got to understand what's running the show, and the subconscious runs our conscious. And we've got to become really, really, really aware that the key here is befriending your subconscious, our beautiful subconscious. Hello, lovely listeners. Our Total Life Transformation Program is live. If you feel stuck in your health, career, relationships, or money, this is the chance for a complete revamp. Over 6 months, you'll experience powerful changes that will transform every part of your life. With the guidance of 5 specialists, so yours truly, a kinesiologist, money mentor, functional health practitioner, career advisor, and our relationship coach, we address 4 key life pillars: your health, your career, your money, and your relationships. One investment shifts you from feeling low-key, unfulfilled to fully energized and inspired in every area of your life. Health. If stress, emotional baggage, or unhealthy habits drain you, we will help release what's in your subconscious and create a personalized nutrition and supplement plan to reset your energy and health. Career. If you feel lost or stuck in your career, our kinesiologist and career mentor provide clarity, confidence, and an action plan to move forward with purpose. Money. If scarcity or fear around money keeps you stuck, we heal your financial blueprint. With our money mentor, you will gain practical strategies to confidently manage your finances for life. And relationships. If disconnection in your relationships leave you feeling unseen, we heal emotional wounds, leading to deeper connection, trust, and love. Now it's time to create your extraordinary life. So book your clarity call now for our Total Life Transformation Program, because it is live and waiting for you. And sometimes we can feel so separate from our bodies and what's happening in our world. Sometimes when you think about that relationship cycle, the same patterns that you create, it can be really empowering I'm going to reword that. When you think about the patterns that play out, so we keep attracting the same partners perhaps, or the same relationship patterns, it can be easy for us to be like, God, it is them. It is that person. That person was different. They brought that. That was the reason why we broke up, was because of this person. But that again is looking externally and giving your power over to something outside of you. You're like, it's because of that. So then you're hoping that that next person that comes along, they're going to not do what your previous partner has done, and you're just hoping. Whereas if you bring that power back to yourself, and how did I allow for these? Why am I allowing these patterns to take place? I'm the common denominator in every one of these relationships. These guys, more often than not, don't know each other. So I'm the common denominator here. What am I bringing to the table that's allowing this pattern to keep occurring in my life? And it starts within the subconscious. It takes your power back. Same with sabotaging opportunities before they fully land. I'm sure many of us can relate to that, where there's an opportunity and you're like, yeah, I want it. And like me, like it's just like, I'll just quickly do that first, and then I'll come back to it. What you're saying, and well, firstly, the message behind that is like, that's got to wait. I'm not ready. You're putting that message out. And that I'm not ready is a sabotaging behavior generated from your subconscious. Your subconscious is saying that opportunity could result in success, and we've got an imprint in our subconscious that plays out that success is a fear. We don't want that in our lives, so let's keep ourselves safe and stick with the familiar. So we understand that even though we consciously want that, our subconscious will always override. So we got to get our subconscious on board. And so how do you do that? Like, I mean, if we could just tell ourselves affirmations all day, every day, and just focus on our mindset, then that, like, we would be living the lives that we want. Like, yes, like I am successful. Like that's, pretty generic affirmation. But if we just simply just told ourselves what we want and repeat affirmations, like, don't get me wrong, I'm a huge affirmations fan, but if that's all we're doing and not allowing ourselves to go into where this is all stemming from, then it's only going to land so deep. When we understand that the subconscious is where the mind automatically takes its actions and its messaging from to then relay it down to the body, and then also simultaneously comes back that information from the body up to the brain, then we've got to work out what needs to shift here. And that's the beautiful thing. This is what drew me to kinesiology, because we then understand that, all right, okay, so the brain is subconscious. It's doing all the things without us consciously knowing. Thank goodness. Love you, brain. And it's passing down the messaging to my body to take that step forward, to breathe, to run faster, to use that muscle but relax its body. Thank God we don't have to think about that, because we would self-combust. But knowing that messaging is always taking place, and sometimes in that subconscious, if it's got so much in there that's like taking up storage, which therefore it's not letting your body, aka your phone or aka your body, function at its optimal, and it's slowing it down, and it's, rebooting, and it's, it's creating these viruses, so to speak, then the messaging is going to be distorted. There's interference in the way. So that's what landed for me with kinesiology. I'm just like, all right, okay, you've got me on board. Like, so you're telling me you can ask my body through the lines of your techniques, really deliberate questions as to why my body is responding in the way that it is. That made sense to me. So that's what muscle testing is, muscle monitoring, is we can jump on that biofeedback loop from the brain, the messages that are getting fed down the neurons, the electrical currents that are going down our nerves, that are feeding into our muscles, and the muscles are getting the messages to either contract or release. Then I'm going to give it a shot at least to see what happens. And it made sense to me that the muscles may not actually get that message if the muscle is storing emotions, and our emotions get stored in our physical body. And that's why we can understand when we get tense, when we're clenching our jaw, these are muscles that are like not getting the messages to relax or work at their optimal. And so, okay, these messages are trying to get through, but what's in the way? We can ask the body what's in the way. All right, let's do that. And so you can ask really deliberate questions as to why the muscle isn't performing at its optimal. It detects the stress that it's storing, and it also detects how this stress is being expressed in its physical form, aka tension, aka clenching jaw, aka disruptions in the gut, tension, headaches, inability to be able to sleep. And it can also detect like how it's affecting our neurological circuit, like the brain fog. It's just like, why can't I grasp that information? Because there's stress stored somewhere in the body that's not allowing you to grasp that information. There's too much storage being used up in unnecessary BS that is stopping you from really being able to get that message of like, here's some information. I want to hold it in and I want to use it. That line of command is available to you. You've just got to clear out the way that's getting your body more prioritizing a stress response than a response of operating in a way that you're consciously asking, and in a way that's in alignment to you. So we tap into the body's intelligence. And again, when I found that, it just made sense. I'm like, why ask anything else? Why give my power away to someone else when we can ask the body exactly why it's reacting in that way, and ask the body exactly where the stress is, ask the body what's at the origin of that stress, and at the origin of that stress, what does that need in order to finally let it go? So then it's neutral, and then that code of behavior no longer has a charge point, and we can release it, and the body can return to a more homeostatic state. The body wants to help. The body wants to operate at its absolute best. But when it's fed all this stress and everything is stored in the subconscious, whether we consciously realize it or not, like even well beyond the event of when something happens, it's stored the experience, it's stored the emotions, it's stored the belief, and you don't even need to recall when that happened. The body already has that imprinted in. So if the body is storing all of that stuff, and think about some of the stresses that we've had on a macro level or micro level, stress that came to us without us having developed the wisdom to know that it doesn't need to be a stress. If we were conscious of all of that, then our body would then go into overdrive, self-combust, and we would be dead. But our clever little subconscious knows like, all right, we're getting to a threshold. All right, I'm going to reset. I'm going to reset and set a new baseline. So then there's a bit more buffer. I'm going to operate here. Yes, I'm in a compensated state, but now there's a bit of a buffer and I can operate from that. But then what do we do when that stress is still unaddressed? It continues to rise and it continues to expand. And then that threshold gets met again. And so that same process occurs. All right, I'm going to reset a new baseline. And so every time it resets a new baseline, you're getting further down into a compensated state. Therefore, you're becoming more physically conditioned, or there could be more ailments that start to show up and they get louder and louder because you're not hearing it the first time. Your emotions might seem less tense and then they start to get more intense and more intense. You're like, why am I reacting this way? The stimulus and the actual event did not match this reaction. And then the mental fog's like, I'm so distracted now. Like, how did I used to get things done at the rate that I was able to get it done? And again, we can so easily be like, well, I'm getting old. And that can be such a throwaway comment, but you're giving your power away to aging instead of just addressing the stress that's stored in your body. Yes, aging is going to occur, but it doesn't mean that you need to allow your system to operate at such a minimal dysfunctional level. It can age gracefully in its most optimal, and you can still have the vibrancy as much as you can when you reboot, when you reset, when you shift out, when you upgrade. And that all starts with the subconscious. So what are you willing and ready to unsubscribe for your 2025? What are you unsubscribing on a physical level? Is there food now that you know that you're not ready, like you're done with, a style of eating that you're ready to unsubscribe from? Is there a relationship or a connection or a friendship that you're like, I need to unsubscribe from that? With love, like I don't need to go out and block them all, or maybe you do, but it can just be for you from a sense of self-love and self-devotion. What do I need to do in my career? What do I need to unsubscribe from in my belief systems? Like, I can't do that. That's not for me. I'm too old. I can't do that. I don't have the skills for that. What do you need to unsubscribe from? Because that is just literally a circuitry that you're choosing on an unconscious, subconscious level. And there are so many opportunities of other circuitries that you could plug into and subscribe to. So what are you choosing? Same within your relationships to yourself or your intimacy. Like, anything is possible. You've just got to choose will be aware of what you're subscribing to and what now you're willing to unsubscribe from. And that's what I would love for all of us for 2025. And so on the 13th of February, Perth time at 12 p.m., I'm running an online free workshop. It's 55 minutes of Own Your Own Energy. So this is what this is. We're going to start to own our energy. Where is it going on a conscious level, a subconscious level? Where do I want it to go? Let's start getting really clear on where we're giving ourselves out to and dial it back in and get really intentional. And you'll have space within your nervous system. You'll have confidence in your decision making. You're allowing yourself the assurance to not be wavered if it doesn't align with someone else's expectation of you, because you're devoting to yourself. You're owning your own energy. So if you want to register for that, jump on the link below. We're going to keep it in the show notes. We would love to get you on. A few of the facilitators will be on there of our Total Life Transformation program. So it's going to be a vibe. But thank you for your time today. I loved being able to unpack this episode with you. If it's been beneficial, please hit me with a DM. I would love to know. Please share it. And if you could, it would mean the absolute world if you could leave a review. I would love to hear how you're finding this podcast, how it's supporting you, and what you'd like to hear more of. All of it is meaningful to us. So if it's the ability to be able to support you, your family, anyone, as many people as we can, then why not? We'd love to. So it has been an absolute pleasure. And until next week, live life liberated.